springing up from the mists of time, the history of Bazas is forever closely connected with that of the cathedral. From the first Iron Age, the Vasats tribe, with their Celtic roots, set up their main base on the rocky sandstone heights. The choice of such a position was dictated by the ease of defense. The two streams of the Beuve and the Saint-Vincent came together to form a rocky outcrop in the form of a triangle. Bazas, originally called Cossio, became one of the most powerful towns in southwest Gaul. The inhabitants lived in cabins, protected by an enclosure, formed by banks of earth with stockades anchored by a forest of wooden stakes. In 56 BC, the Romans, under General Crassus, arrived in Aquitaine. They occupied Cossio and made it into a civitas, a major administrative center for the area. From the moment the barbarian invasions brought an end to the Pax Romana, the town was encircled by stone ramparts, 800 meters in length. By the end of the medieval period, this had stretched to 1,500 meters. In the year 31, another conquest took place, completely peacefully and led by a woman, which changed forever the destiny of Bazas. Having learned the miracles and preaching of Jesus Christ, she left Gaul to go to Jerusalem. She would have been at the martyring of John the Baptist and had a silver phial cast to hold the precious blood of this leader. In the year 50, she turned to Bazas and had a sanctuary built, putting the relic in an altar. The town's coat of arms bears witness to this event, as from the early Middle Ages. Bazas saw the installation of a group of 3 wooden chapels on the site of an earlier building. In the 5th century, a first bishop was named. After that came a period punctuated by various invasions, but the restoring of the bishop's mandate brought an end to that as the 11th century drew to a close. Bazas had become an episcopal town. The building of the first cathedral, firstly in the Romanic style, on the site of the 3 chapels, was started in 1070, during the episcopal reign of Raymond le Jeune. It was finished before the arrival of the Pope Urban II in 1096, who came to preach in favor of the First Crusade. He consecrated the new altar and dedicated the cathedral to St. John the Baptist. The building was 24 meters wide, as with the current cathedral, but was shorter in that it was 60 meters long. The only remains today are the base of the tower and its buttress. At the start of the 13th century, Bishop Arnaud de Pin took the decision to build a cathedral in the Gothic style, to take the place of the then current structure, which was in the Roman style. In 1233, work started on the east frontage and its 3 doors. These were finished around 1250 and boasted 290 statues. During the latter half of the century, work continued to incorporate the Roman nave. The support pillars of the large arcades were composed of a circular structure with 4 linked shafts. They rest on a high plinth and are decorated at the top with fig leaves and pine cones in the Corinthian capital style. Thanks to the support of Pope Clement V and the generosity of the Bazas faithful, the works on the far end of the cathedral, with its aisles and cloisters and side chapels, as well as the graceful outside arch supports, started in 1308 and were finished within 4 years. On Christmas night, 1561, Calvinists entered the town and sacked the cathedral. By 1578, the Huguenots ruled over Bazas. Bishop Arnaud de Pontac objected to the destruction of the building, and by paying an effective ransom of 10,000 gold écus, was able to save the three doors. In 1583, he oversaw the start of reconstruction work. The central nave, the first 5 pairs of pillars, as well as the side aisles were restored. The internal gallery, the high windows and the arches were rebuilt. On each side of the nave, a number of Gothic arches topped the side aisles, decorated at the top by a pinnacle. The final supports of the various arches were finished off by a waterspout in the form of a gargoyle. They also added 4 supports decorated with pinnacles and Gothic niches to reinforce and surround the triple door. The frontage of the gallery was chiseled by hand to enhance its appearance. Rising above everything else is the large rose window, with its 18 petals, 15 meters across, which seems to be fixed into the wall. In 1723, a dreadful storm hit Bazas. The top of the frontage, above the rose window, was pulled down by the force of the wind, taking with it the arches of the first few spans. Repair works were done during the time of Jean-Joseph de Cossio, and that's how the triangle gable came to be replaced by a Greek-style gable, out of place on a Gothic frontage. In 1790, the revolution broke on Bazas and the mandate of bishop was removed. In 1793, the statues of the triple door were damaged by maniacs. To add insult to injury, they daubed on the Greek frontage the words Temple de la Raison. The damage was evident inside. The organ and the furniture were taken apart. The vandalism stretched even to the bishop's tombs, finishing in the square with a patriotic fire into which were thrown the episcopal archive documents. It was utter desolation. But the worst was to come. In 1796, the field containing the blood of Saint Jean the Baptist was thrown into the existing latrines by Barthélemy Pierre Partarieux. The only remnant from this diocesan period of the town is the tower alongside the cathedral, which was part of the bishop's palace, destroyed in the first half of the 19th century. In the 19th century, the cathedral was able to put its woes behind it. In order to restore the building, Bazas set to work during the whole century. Between 1856 and 1860, a major task was the preparation of new windows by the master glassmaker Villiers, thanks to local patronage. Thus were visitors able to see the words of the Old Testament in the northern aisle, the New Testament in the southern aisle, and 56 saints on the glass of the upper panes. He also engraved the names of the 64 Bazas bishops on each petals of the rose window. In the center, you can see the image of the Cardinal Donnet, Archbishop of Bordeaux, receiving a scale model of the cathedral from the Archpriest Parenteau, an indication of the vast project was at last complete. Following on, the pulpit, the altar, candlebrass, and lighting were added to bring the finishing touches to the works. Louis XVIII had himself contributed 4 paintings, portraits of the Church Fathers, all on show in the Virgin's Chapel. On the 4th March 1941, during the Second World War, the tower was struck and badly damaged by lightning. In defiance of the ban imposed by the occupying forces, work started on the 15th of July 1943 and was finished in January of 1944. A cross was made of iron, 4.5 meters tall, and surmounted by a cockerel, was blessed on the 27th of January 1944 by Canon Boyer. As the centuries pass, the noble frontage reminds us today of the traces of the past. Throughout its history, from the dawn of the Christian era up to today, the cathedral has been an intimate part of the life of its people. Hence, even 850 years on, the Cathedral Saint Jean the Baptiste is still very much at the heart of the town.